Okay, it's fight week for UFC Poland. It's probably not the most anticipated card of the year, Will, but we've got a couple of friends of ours shooting over to watch the fights. There's the main event itself, Darren Till against Donald Cerrone, which I think is the fight which we're interested in because of the kind of propulsion that Darren Till's been given against Donald Cerrone. So we'll be talking about that later. But first, bro, we're going to look at Cage Warriors, some crazy results from the weekend. We'll also touch on Bellator and KSW on as well. And obviously at the end, we'll answer everyone's questions. But other than that, Will, how's life going for you, bro?
Just waiting for this hurricane to come from Ireland, say hello. But no, everything's been great. Just nice and quiet. Try to get this cold out of my system. But still looking forward to a few of the fights this weekend. And yeah, coming off a really solid card at Cage Warriors at the weekend. They delivered once again. And Wales just seems to be a great hotbed of some of the talent coming through. So just a great card overall.
It was an absolute solid card. Now, I was incredibly pleased to watch that card because I thought it was absolutely top draw. There was a little bit of douchebagness, I have to say. One of the commercial marketing guy from Bama was basically slating Cage Warriors on Twitter, saying that he's sandbag guys again. Kind of silly when you look at the main event with what happened to Lou Long and stuff like that. But then again, it's one of them things where Bama tries to always make out like they're the best in the UK. We all know they're not, especially after the shenanigans. I don't know, Will, if you saw it yourself. Tom Young posted the Facebook status from one of the fighters who got announced he was on the main card, then got pulled away from it because he doesn't sell enough tickets, and Bama just basically screwing him over. Something that they've done before. The reason why the Bama are losing their stars, then they're putting like an event on with Alex Lahore fighting some lad who's 2-0. So Lahore's 13-1, and this lad was 2-0 that he's fighting for a belt for a welterweight championship. Again, I don't pick sides, but I think Bellator, you can't say stuff like that when you do stuff which is pretty shocking on your show. It's pretty embarrassing if you're asking myself. But anyway, bro.
Yeah. Let's
get the Cage Warriors card. That was far more interesting. Cornelia Holm made a professional debut. The girl who's like won the IMMF World Amateur Championships and stuff like that. She got her pro debut out of the way. She got herself a victory and decision win. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but I think it's one of them ones where you're fighting on a pretty big stage and Cage Warriors making your pro debut against a girl who was clearly stronger in the stand-up, quicker, had great angles. I think that she held her own and she got that victory. I don't know about yourself, but I don't know how many fights you've saw. Have you seen just the main card? Did you see the prelims as well? What have you been able to watch yourself on that card?
I saw that fight because I know that we were talking about it last week and you were telling me about Cornelia Holm. So I didn't really know too much about her, so I thought I'd check that one out. I'm still going through some of the fights, but I got all the main card and that, but she looked very impressive. Tough fight to start off her young career in and move herself on, and I'm sure we'll see her in the very, very near future on the Cage Warriors card again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was speaking to her the next day as well. I was speaking to her on Sunday. She felt great. Everything feels good after that result. So yeah, let's go on to the main card, bro, which was, I have to say, there was some crazy, awesome matchmaking. If you look at it from that perspective, there was a lot of changes on the whole card. There was all sorts of pullouts, but Ross Houston against Aaron Khalid. I'll tell you what, Ross Houston looked absolutely on point in that fight. Aaron it was a strange one to watch because Aaron seemed to gas really quick. Now, I don't know if it's an adrenaline dump. I don't know if it's, the fact that he's in the hometown crowd, big fight, big stage, and maybe that just got to him. I don't know, but he seemed to really quick to he was gassed before the second kicked in. Ross, though, looked absolutely on point. I think that for me, all Ross needed to do to get that win was be able to keep it at a distance, keep the straight punches, and he would have got that probably fight finished, if I'm honest. But all in all, a very solid performance from Ross. He's looking very talented. He's got a lot of potential in him, I feel, especially in the Cage Warriors roster where they'll build him up nicely and he'll get some good matchups next.
Yeah. No, good performance. I'm like yourself, I was a little bit surprised to see Aaron kind of, he did look I don't know, he was just like reaching in and all his kind of energy expending himself very, very quickly. But Ross, I thought, fought a great fight, very composed. Never really, I don't think he ever got outside his comfort zone where Khalid was really, except for the few times towards the end when Aaron was kind of unloading a little bit and catching him with shots. But I thought he was very composed on his feet. I thought he could take it to the ground when he wanted to, and it was just a really well-rounded performance. And he's a guy. I think I said to you last week. I usually keep on top with local fighters. When I say local fighters in Scotland, for some reason, I had no clue that Ross was fighting. But when I found out, I was really excited, and I thought he had a really good performance. And I mean, if he can keep that going, you never know. We might have a potential Cage Warriors card back here in Scotland again, which would be something really nice to go to. Paul McBain's fighting at 88 in Liverpool. So a couple of guys from up the north there in Inverness and up by Aberdeen. So great performance. See, a little bit worried about Aaron kind of gas a little bit quick, because I thought if he kept him short a pretty solid gas tank, I think that fight could have been very, very close. But Ross Houston got a very, very impressive victory. Really happy that he did so. And I'm sure Aaron Khalid, I think he's only a young guy, he'll be back.
Yeah, he will. And again, beautiful performance. Hopefully another positive for Scottish MMA and the way he's coming on. A fight that really, I think, will just was beautiful. Aiden Lee. Now, wow, what a performance. That guy came along and just walked through his opponent to put up Klein, Ludovic Klein, I believe it is pronounced. Do you know what? I'll say it now. Today's going to be a nightmare for name pronunciation. I'm not looking. Don't quote me on any of these names. And also, well, do you know what? We always forget this. Subscribe. If you're listening or watching, whatever you're doing, subscribe, please. I forget this. I am absolutely pants at doing that at the start, you know. But anyway, subscribe, people. And, yeah, beautiful finish by Lee. He's on fire at the moment with his submissions and his capability. Another promising result for the UK, another promising prospect again, so to speak. He's just looking on fire.
Yeah, he looked very, very, very good on the ground. He looks like one of these guys that adapts to situations really, really quick, and he moves himself into like varying advantageous positions. And I think he's a guy that not many people know about. But I think this Aiden Lee could go a long, long way. I think he's going to be a sneaky, sneaky good fighter. And I'm sure the more that the Cage Warriors people put him on the main card, more people will come and see the guy or get more visions of him on the TV and stuff. I think he's really good. I think he trains a lot with Tom Breeze, and Tom is a guy that's got a lot of potential. If he can stay healthy, he's got a lot of potential there. So, no, I really enjoyed his performance. I thought Klein really had nothing for him, and Cage Warriors do it right. They build you up I shouldn't say slowly, but they put you in. Ian puts people in tough matchups. He doesn't just put you in there with anybody that's kind of on the street or just anybody with a decent record. He puts you in there with decent matchups, and that was a really, really fine performance. He was actually one of the guys that really surprised me. I didn't know too much about him, I'll be honest with you, but he thoroughly impressed me.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. It was, and do you know what? He's really big for that weight class, like long, tall, long-limbed. Again, that's another added problem. You've got a guy who I've talked about, I've interviewed, Jack Shaw, coming along in a fight that was a really tough fight in Gibraltar, in the sense of it was a change of opponents, but at the same time, it was a guy who was a champion at Sambo and judo. So the grappling exchange was going to stop almost because, you know, Jack was known for his aggressive kind of movement and grappling exchange where he's really strong grappling. This time we got to see Jack use patience, kind of confidence with his striking, fluidity with his striking. You know, he looked really good. You know, he started to get that kind of self-belief about throwing those shots and knowing what he could do, dropping his opponent, finish him in the third with that knee. Just, you know what? Jack Shaw showed he's got a very well-rounded game. He's not just one kind of trick pony where he'll grapple you down, submit you, or just beat the will out of you, so to speak. He's got a whole kind of arsenal to kind of come at you with. What do you think about Jack Shaw, bro?
I like watching that kid fight. That kid, every time you watch that young man, I should say, I shouldn't call him a kid. It feels that way because I'm a bit older than him, but I get really excited for his fights, and I like the fact that he seems to have a presence with him with inside in the cage. He's got a load of people really supporting him in the crowd, which is something that I think nowadays is something you need to push yourself into that operational when you get there. So him having a lot of fans coming out of Wales, and Wales, it's just like they really do get behind you. It's pretty similar to the Scottish and Irish. Once they've got someone behind you, they really get behind you. So I thought he looked incredible. Some of the things, he's known as a guy who's very dangerous on the ground, and he put some unbelievable combinations together. I think it was the first round when he dropped Galbiati with a beautiful 3-punch combo, and from there you can see the progression that the kid's making. Galbiati went in for a takedown, and he had an unbelievable sprawl as well, like really unbelievable sprawl. So, and he could have went to the ground. I think he would have had the advantage on the ground. I really do, with his submission grappling. I think he could have submitted him down there, but I think he wanted to show a little bit more of his striking. And that finish is like exquisite. That was such a beautiful finish. Fainted a little bit, threw the knee straight up the middle, and put Galbiati down. Galbiati, I think, fair dues to that guy. Coming in there short notice, very tough. Technique wasn't all there, but gave a tough fight to Jack Shaw, and that's what he needs at this time in his career. Interesting to see what they do with him. I really hope the kind of slow build is what Cage Warriors do with it. I believe they will do that. Don't rush the guy too quick. Give him a couple of years, and I think this guy is going to could be a world beater. And if he seems to me as well, once he's not like a jacked young man. I think he's got a little bit of growing left to do, and I think once he gets into his fight form body, I still think he's going to become a stronger fighter. I think he's going to become a more versatile fighter. I think once his body kind of morphs a little bit, I think he's going to be really, really tough to get down. I think once he gets there, he's going to have the advantage, and on the feet, he seems to be putting it all together. So I'm a big Jack Shaw fan. I am going to be a big Jack Shaw fan probably for a long, long time, and look forward to seeing him fight in the new year. I think they announced the card for Wales in March, was it?
Yeah, 3rd of March, yeah. They've announced that.
Perfect. Put him in there as a cool main event. Was it Josh Reed and the guy that Nathaniel Wood beat, I think, wasn't it, in the main event?
Yes. Yeah, it's Koval. I'm not saying that name. I'm not saying that name, Will. Just not happening. Yeah,
Kovacevic. I remember his name now.
Yeah.
So he's easily going to be a cool main event, I think, on that card, and looking forward to March to seeing the kid again. So. Yeah,
absolutely exciting. And as I said to Sean Sheehan, that he went to Jansen Winklejohns with Jack Marshman, and that's when he realised he's up with that top level. He's already he's got the ability. He's up there already, and he's definitely showed it. Co-main event, which was talked about as being the people's main event. You had Matt Inman against Craig White. Now, Matt Inman is one of them ones where, who was I speaking to? I was talking to someone online, and they were asking about the fight, etc. And I said, do you know what the problem with Matt Inman is? You don't know what Matt Inman's going to rock up. I said, you've got a Matt Inman who has a lot of skill. You know, he's strong. He's got great grappling. He's got good combinations. He's a top-level guy like that. But then you have a Matt Inman who self-doubts himself, who maybe second-guesses himself, and then kind of just coils up in his shell, and he doesn't perform anywhere near the level he can. And that was what I think we saw, a confident Matt Inman at the start with the clinch game, which Craig White could not stop. He couldn't break it. He couldn't overpower him. Matt Inman just had control. And then Craig White clipped him. Now, Matt Inman argued and debated about the stoppage. But ladies and gentlemen, if you watch it back, it was a very well-placed stoppage. Matt Inman was receiving 38 strikes without reply before the referee stepped in. And there would have been more to follow if the referee hadn't stepped in. Now, Matt Inman can say for all he wants that he felt fine, it wasn't landing clean, etc. But if someone's hitting you 38 times and you're not responding, it doesn't. That's not intelligent defending. Like putting your hands up is not defending intelligent. Like moving out of the way would be an intelligent defense. Grappling him, like getting 1-under-1 over, an underhook, grabbing him would be an intelligent form of defense. But just standing there with your hands up, taking the punch after punch, I can't justify that as a intelligent form of defense. Well, I don't know about you, but where do you sit on this kind of decision?
Yeah, he needs to do more. You can't put your back against the cage, take shots, and expect that fight not to get stopped. It's just you have to maneuver yourself off that cage. You need to try something. Now, this is me talking. I'm not a fighter. I'm just a guy that sits and watches fights. But as a guy that sits and watches fight, if you're against the cage and you're taking unlimited shots, like 30, like you said, if you're taking shots like that, you can't expect the fight to continue. It's not going to happen. You've got to look after the fighters. The referee did exactly the right thing. Craig White, he's really starting to turn his career around again. He's got a lot of losses on his record, but now he's starting to beat really tough guys. I mean, Hakan Foster, tough guy. He stopped, and he's doing this in the first round as well. So his last 3 fights have all stopped in the 3rd round, and really he's starting to turn his career around, and it's good to see. I mean, Cage Warriors will absolutely match him up with top fights, and he's kind of like going up in levels. Foss, Inman, like you said, if he turns up, he's a really tough guy to face. Really impressive victory. Once he had him at heart, he just swarmed on him, and it was a really good stoppage. I don't understand people who say that was a bad stoppage or the referee was a little bit too quick to step in. The referee gave him to kind of move out the road. You have to move your back off the cage. You can't be taking shots like that. And big win for White. Looking forward to seeing who they match him up with against next. Good win.
The main event was Lu Long against Roberto Soldic. Now, people who didn't know who Roberto Soldic was, which is fair enough, he's not a well-known a UK name, sorry, but in the European scene, he was killing it. He came in with 2 first-round finishes, and then he continued his run with a third first-round finish by stopping Lu Long with a Crow Cop-esque head kick stoppage, and it was beautiful. It was not nice to watch because I have to say I've got a little bit of my heart that goes to Lu Long because he's such a great character in MMA. He's such an awesome guy, and he was on that cusp of a UFC call-up, and then he just kind of slipped. You could see him going in for the grappling. He wanted to grapple with this guy because he knew the guy was dangerous on the feet, just like Lu Long is, but Lu knew that he probably had the advantage with the grappling and the submission game, so he was just taking advantage of what he had, and he was looking for that, and I think that's possibly what kept his hands down, and his head kick came. Now, that was a beautiful finish. What happened after, when the referee went to check to make sure Lu's okay, and Roberto Soldic hitting him after the fight, reaching over the referee to hit him, that was just dog shit move. But anyway, on the whole, on the fight perspective, this Roberto guy is probably one straight away. He's getting a radar going on the UFC kind of thing. Like, he looked good. I can't deny it. He's looked good anyway outside his Cage Warriors fight as well.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying about Cage Warriors. They don't match you up with bad opponents. Now, I did hear about Roberto Soldic one other time, but I never watched any of his fights. So I come home. Of course, I'm wanting Lu to win because he is a really top guy, just a character, like you said, and it was a thunderous head kick. Like, it was a big shot. He face planted. It looked vicious. It looked nasty. I'm all for fighting. Like, it's a fight, so it's 2 guys with adrenaline going. But what he did after the bell, that's not on. You shouldn't be doing stuff like that, especially when the ref is cradled over the top, trying to help the guy, and you're coming from the side and punching him. That's not on. I went back and watched 2 or 3 fights of Soldic. This kid's legit. This kid's going to be good. He's a Dan Hardy said it beforehand, and Dan Hardy knows what he's talking about. Like kind of Crow Cop-esque, and he throws a lot of those high kicks up very quickly, and he's did it before. Now, he hasn't faced opposition like Lu Long's faced a lot of tough guys. So this was his kind of putting out there for the people to see him. And this is going to be if the Cage Warriors can keep him around and give him like a couple of contracts for fights, I can see the guy going quite far. But it's a shame for Lu because he's always on the cusp of making that other big leap to possibly UFC. I think Graham Boylan was saying the winner of that fight could possibly fight Carl Lamassu if Carl Lamassu wants to fight. Shame, it's such a shame. It was tough to see, but that's why sometimes you try and don't get emotionally invested in fighters. But sometimes when you meet those guys, you can't help it. So it's a tough loss for Lou. Hopefully he bounces back. And he's lost before. I fully expect him to put another run together, and he will get where he wants to go. I have no doubt about it. So yeah, but just while we're finishing up on Cage Warriors, I think we should give a very big mention to Alex Enland, who announced his retirement at the weekend. He was a guy that was signed to the UFC. There was problems with that. He had a fight, then he got taken off. Then I think they had some health problems and stuff. And ultimately, he's decided that his life's changed. His life's kind of went elsewhere, and he's announced his retirement after his fight with Carl Musa back last month in Sheffield. If you don't want to fight and your head and heart's not in the fight game, you make that decision to go out. He made the correct decision if that's how he's feeling. Much respect to the guy. I've enjoyed watching him fight. Former Cage Warriors champion, that can never be taken away from him. And just enjoy his retirement.
I am with you, Will. I have met Alex as well. He is an absolute dime in person. Such a good guy to talk to. Very knowledgeable. Very wise for his age. You know, he's way ahead of himself. He's got guys under him that he's been training for a long time. He's taken, you know, he took the role on as being a coach as well as a fighter. He had a ridiculous potential level. The kid was so good. But like you said, the health issues came in, which caused him to delay his comeback. The UFC, you know, made the safe decision to say, look, off you go. If the health thing's clear, they probably said have a couple of wins and you get back in. We want to make sure everything's okay. He actually decided himself, he'd already decided to retire before this Kane fight because, like you said, the mind was not there and he stepped away. He might, you know, in a year or two, get that itch to come back. He might have it. But then for now, he stepped away. And he's got guys like Adam Proctor and stuff like that who he's training. These people we're going to be talking about, you know, in a year or so. You know, he's got some great talented guys around his area. And I've got all the time in the world from him. I messaged him and wished him the best because he is such a fucking great guy. So, bro, yeah, going on to this week coming up. Got Bellator's got a card on, which have just had a couple of fights change. Co-main events off. They've had Zach Bussier sign up with them, who I've had on the pod, I've had interviewed in the past before. Stephen Ivers on, but the main event is the one to really talk about. I mean, that's the fight worth talking about. Is Gegard Mousasi against Alexander Shelemenko. You know, it's a fight I think that is ideal for Gegard Mousasi. You know, because for me, Shelemenko, he's definitely on the latter part of his career. He had the time off or time away with the alleged steroid use, but because it's Bellator, they're a bit loose in their check-ins and findings of what you've been taking. I.e., Bobby Lashley fights for them, so it says a lot. He's about as natural as a plastic spade. But you've got Gegard Mousasi who really wants to go in and get that 185 belt, and if he can, have a chance to do the 205 belt. I just want to see Gegard fight. Gegard Mousasi is just a guy I enjoy watching getting in the cage, and it's going to be a hell of a scrap.
Yeah, no, me and you have seen a fair share of Gegard over the last year. We've seen him in Manchester against Vitor, just kind of destroyed him, and then we've seen him in Belfast get the revenge over Uriah Hall. So we've seen Gegard do his best, and I'm surprised that the UFC let him go. But he's one of these guys that really doesn't mind fighting a lot of organizations. He did it with Japan, Strikeforce, Dream, so on. But you can guarantee that Bellator want this guy to kind of succeed. They want this guy to come in and win championship. The middleweight division in Bellator is not good. 205 is not good. They want to put belts on this guy. Shlemenko, I think, like you said, I think he's on his latter part of his career. That guy was definitely juicing. He was definitely on some gear in some of those fights for sure. So they want him to win. I mean, the card for Bellator, it's pretty solid. It's taken some changes the last half hour or so, but Heather Hardy's on there. You've got Anna Julaton, who's on there as well. So they've got a couple of names that might bring some other fans of other sports in, but they need Musasi to win. I think he'll do it as well, fairly convincingly as well.
Yeah, they need him because, especially with the way Benson Henderson's went, and you know, especially with the signings of Con that they've brought from the UFC that haven't quite made that mark they've wanted. They definitely want Musasi, and he is the kind of guy who will do it because he's so. I think he's so underrated. He's so underappreciated on the MMA scene. That guy is a cerebral killer. He's an assassin. I love watching him fight, and so I can't wait to see him in the 185 kind of division, just ripping it up. So you've got that going on. KSW are shooting over to Dublin and hosting a card there. KSW are trying to establish themselves in the UK with and I would say Dublin as well as Southern Ireland. I know it's not UK, all that political bollocks, but whatever. They've done a London card, they're doing a Dublin card. They're trying to at least put a card once a year, I think, in the UK, establish themselves, start to build up a rapport with the UK and Irish fans, which I think it's a great idea because the KSW production, I've not been yet, but I know people have been there, and we've said it before, is apparently amazing. So that is, people don't realize, the fight card makes a huge difference, but it's the effort the promotion make to the production that makes a big difference as well, because you want to go and have a great time, you want to have a great atmosphere, and I think that's something that makes a difference for me when I purchase a ticket, knowing what I'm getting.
Yeah, no, I like seeing like these big ones. Like, I don't think people, if you're maybe just a diehard UFC fan, and there's no harm in being a diehard UFC fan. I know plenty of people that are like that, but if you don't watch anything outside of the UFC, like KSW in Poland are huge, like huge, and now they're starting to move themselves into the European market, coming over to probably, if you go outside of Poland, where's the kind of hottest place that the sport can really take off? Dublin. Everybody seems to be going to Dublin. Because they've got such rabid fans, and they've got the kind of infrastructure to put on really solid events. It's a beautiful city. It's Dublin. It's one of my favourite cities in the world. But I mean, they did all right with this card. I like some of the fights. I like Matella, who was supposed to actually, which is weird, he was supposed to main event the Poland card on the Saturday, but he's actually fighting on the Sunday. So he defended his title against ex-UFC event, and Paulo Thiago. Ariane Lipski is against Mariano Moraes, and then we've got the rematch with Gamrot and Parks. So they did well. I think they've added a couple of the Irish guys that they had to really add. I think Paul Edmonds, one of the nice guys out there in the sport as well. He'll crack a weight here for ages. Chris Fields coming back. It's a little bit I'm a little bit unsure with that myself, but it is in Dublin. They had to get a couple of names through the door, and he's a guy who might bring in some pull for that. But I mean, I really hope they succeed because I like watching their product. I think like the production is top notch. They've got good guys working for them. Alan Murphy, who is a guy that I've spoken fights with for many years. He's working for KSW now. So shout out to Alan, who had like a really tough time last year battling cancer, and he beat that, and he's moved on to a great dream gig with KSW. So I'll be looking forward to it. It's on a Sunday as well, which is nice. I'll be off, so I will probably end up watching some of that. I don't know how you do it, whether you buy it in pay-per-view or buy I don't think it'll be that much if it will be, but I'm sure there's plenty of places where you can find the fights out there. But I'll be looking forward to watching it.
Yeah. Apart from the men, and the reason why, Will, is because Mariusz Pudzianowski's fighting James McSweeney. I had James McSweeney on announcing his retirement because of health issues, because he has epilepsy, from the fighting, and I was coming back out of retirement and fighting Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Yeah.
Now it's all financial.
Yeah.
But what I can't get my head around is KSW allowing James McSweeney to go on the card and fight. Like, if you're a promotion, isn't there at least a small sliver of humanity that says maybe we shouldn't let this happen? Instead of thinking about the money, think about the kind of future health of the one individual. Because I'm not saying now, he's lucky because Mariusz Pudzianowski, he's not exactly the most deadly person in the world. Mariusz Pudzianowski is the fighter that will charge down you to get on top of you because he's so big and strong. And he'll just try and hold you down and use his form of ground and pound, which is, because it's just sheer force. And if you can get a good round out of him, that's Mariusz Pudzianowski. If you get you out in the first round, that'll be him. If he goes after the first round, Pudzianowski's in for a bit of a nightmare because he's crap. He's got no gas. All the gear in the world that he's been taking for so long, because that dude was jacked to the gills. Like, he had four bollocks, you know what I mean? That guy was legit world's strongest man, just taking everything he could, you know what I mean? Like, he was like a pharmaceutical company. He just pounded in him. He's not got that kind of endurance for MMA. He's got a good round in him where he just blitzes you, but after that, he gasses off. James McSweeney, can he last a round? What's his health like? How is he passing the medicals? I'm a bit tentative on that, if I'm honest, bro.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. But they had to. Pudzianowski is huge. I'm sure he's massive in Poland. He's probably actually pretty massive in Europe because there's a lot of people within Europe that love the strongman contests, and I was one growing up. I always used to like watching them. I was quite intrigued by it. But it's interesting that he fights now. But if you've made the commitment to retire and then pretty much a couple of months later just come back again, something's up with that. But I know that they have to match up Pudzianowski, but it's a little bit of a weird matchup. But if the KSW are going to do what KSW are going to do, it's up to if James McSweeney wants to fight, it's really on him, because he's already made the decision to fall back from the sport. But he's came back, and it's like you say, they probably pay very well over at KSW as well, so that's probably a big aspect to do it. But I'm sure they've got like medicals and stuff like that they have to do. Yeah. I'm sure it's not going to be pretty sure like, oh, you're just going to fight. Da, 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 da. I'm sure they've got to do certain things and prove that they can pass those tests. So, it's. I would put the championship fight as the main event, but I can see why they put Pudzianowski as the main event.
I think maybe because it might be, I don't know if in Poland it's on free TV, or it might be a pay-per-view thing. That's maybe why they put him as the main event. I think it might be something to do with that. I'm not sure how it works in Poland and how the promotion itself it works exactly. But let's go though to UFC Gdansk in Poland. Speaking about Poland, you see with Pudzianowski, we're linking it into the UFC card. Like I say, it's a card that I'm not overly hyped about. To be honest with you, but the thing is, the odds are it will probably turn out to be one of the most exciting cards of the whole year because it's one of the ones that have gone right under the radar. This is probably the least. I reckon this will probably possibly be the least viewed card of the whole year. But anyway, bro, let's start. You got to look at this guy. I think he's a hot prospect in the UFC's. Only been there 5 years. Felipe Antas against Josh Emmett. Now, I'm more interested to see how Josh Emmett does down at 145, bro. He was meant to fight Arnold Allen, but sadly, Arnold Allen had a hand injury. Felipe, he's a guy who I can't get on board because he's not done enough in the time he's been with the UFC to show that he's got anything in there. I think he's one of them guys who just floats around, gets the win here and there to just keep him by. But I can see Josh Emmett really taking control of this fight, especially at 145. I'm super keen to see how he does. Yeah,
it's the big thing for me is how he does with the weight cut dropping down to 145. Arantes, it's a guy that he's kind of like an enigma. Sometimes when he shows up, he looks fantastic. Other times he looks terrible. But he's very dangerous. He's got good striking. And he has really quick submissions. He's somebody that, but I think if Emmett has a nice cut, I like the fact as well that they've got some Team Alpha Male guys on the card, like Feely's on there, so there'll be a little team of them, and there's going to be a group cutting that weight, and they're both going to the same weight class as well, Feely and Emmett, so they'll be pushing each other along. I think Emmett's just a little bit tougher. I think he probably wants it more than what Arantes does. Arantes flying all the way over from Brazil. That's a long journey. I know that Emmett's coming from the West Coast, but I think Arantes, he had to pull out a fight, didn't he? Not long ago because he got ill. So literally the day before the fight against Luke Sanders, back in September, so it was literally a month ago that he fell ill on the flight over from Brazil. So I like Emmett. I think he will just want it more. I think he can. I think the first round could be very close. Aranches is very dangerous, but I think his gas tank wanes as the fight goes on. I think Emmett's going to stick around and just kind of grind him out for 3 rounds and win maybe a 29-28 decision.
Aspen lad stepping in against Lena Landsberg. How do you see that one going, Will?
I like Aspen. I think we're a little bit different in this one a wee bit, but I like Aspen. I just think she's got more of a potential, and I think that once she gets a little bit of that confidence and she starts putting it together, she can become a fairly decent fighter. I think this is a big step up for Aspen Ladd? Maybe a little bit, because Landsberg really is nothing special, but I mean, Aspen Ladd's she's beat people that are in the UFC already. She beat Amanda Cooper. It was very early on in their careers, but she still beat her. She beats Sijara Eubanks, who's a girl I think is probably one of the favourites to win the Ultimate Fighter, or is it 20 for the 125? 26.
25.
Yeah, 26. for the 125 strap. So she's one of the favourites on there, and she beat her. So the way I see the fight going, Landsberg I think is going to want to put it against the fence and really grind her in the clinch. But I think she can, as the fight goes on, she can beat Landsberg up, take her down, and just beat her up down there. So I've got Ladd, not confident in the pick whatsoever, but I'd rather take a young, up-and-coming, kind of hungry fighter against I mean, Landsberg's old. Landsberg's been around a long time, so I'll take the youngster in this one.
Yeah, because I think about the Pudlova fight that Landsberg had, and again, Pudlova, young cat, lot of potential again, but I just feel that Landsberg's got that suave veteran knowledge and kind of knows what to do to kind of, I want to say piss you off, but to get where she wants the fight to be. And her clinch game is deadly. Her elbows are fucking scary. Like, that girl can bang. If you're in a clinch, you get rocked up with her, you're not going to win. You won't outstrength her. She will beat you in that clinch game. And that's her strength. I think she just needs to get Aspen Ladd to the cage and just literally take off with those knees to the body and elbows, and she could get a nice little win there. We don't know who, as of recording, who Wally Alves might have as a replacement opponent, because Jimmy Wallhead stepped away. So at the moment, my money is on Wally Alves to win. Yeah,
I've got a feeling they might pull that fight. I think
they might pull it, because unless they can get someone, bro, who's going to be a 155 or stepping in at 170, it's a short notice thing. Is it the end of the world? Do you think they might just cut their losses and Wally Alves is traveling quite a way away? Who knows? I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut it.
Yeah, I think I've got a funny feeling that they might not find an opponent, and it's kind of interesting they've got a card in Brazil the week after.
Because
would it surprise me that they put Alves in that card? Wouldn't surprise me.
Because Alves is not he's no weak guy to go against for debut. He's a beast, absolute monster. I know he lost his last 2 fights, but he's a beast. Like,
I heard that Peter Buist out of the Holland, who recently he's won titles at 155 and 170, he's calling for the fight. If they're looking at putting the fight together, I think that's probably your best option. But I just got a feeling they're going to pull him from this card.
Like we joked around about on Twitter, Bilal Muhammad jump on and fly over. He's game. I love that kid. Love that guy. To be honest with you, but yeah, there's a handful of names out there. Like even Danny Roberts, if he can get down there as well. But look, let's go to the next fight, which is actually going to happen. I don't know the structure of the card exactly. I don't think it's been announced, but you got Andre Fili against Artem Lobov. This is a fight, bro, that you're looking forward to. I saw you on Twitter post about it. So give me the reason why you are looking forward to Fili and Lobov. What is it about this fight that's getting you excited, bro?
Well, both guys, I think, need a win. They need to. I think Lobov's the guy. He always tries and brings it, no matter what the opponent is. Whether it's Chris Avila, who's not your great opponent, or a Cub Swanson. He won rounds against Cub Swanson, so let's not. It takes a pretty decent fighter to win some form of rounds against Cub Swanson, because some high level guys have not did that. So it's just a really interesting. I like the fight that they put together. First of all, I think you've got the kind of shorter guy in Lobov against the longer, rangy Andre Fili. I think Fili's got like a 10-inch reach advantage here, but he's coming off a really disappointing loss to Calvin Qatar. But to be fair, that was all Qatar. I did not see that performance coming, but he totally outclassed Andre Fili in that fight. And he's getting in here kind of fairly quick after that. I think he fought at 214 back in July, so he's getting back in there pretty quick after. I'm finding it hard to pick the winner of this one. I'm edging Fili because I think he can fight at range. I think if he doesn't get into an all-out brawl with what probably Lobov wants, that he could win on the cards. You just have to be careful and don't get drawn into that brawl because we've seen him knocked out in the past a couple of times. But
Yari Rodriguez didn't get stopped by Yari.
Yeah, but he got caught with a huge shot there.
And he's a different type of fighter though. Yari's not. Yeah, he's like a one-off kind of style.
I was in Vegas for that when it was like an unbelievable like smack in the face that you like in an arena when there's like 12,000 people. And just this smack, it was like deafening. It was really, really weird to hear, but it was awesome at the same time as well. I'm edging Fili. Would like a Lobov. Well, I'm saying that because I do like Team Alpha Male, but I think that Artem Lobov gets a lot of shit, and he's actually a really nice guy. And the guy just likes to fight. And you've got to admire and respect people that he will fight anybody, any weight class, anywhere. If you go to McDonald's and somebody's kicking off, you can guarantee that Artem Lobov is first in line to knock you out. Absolutely. If somebody's call him out, he's right there, ready to go on the spot. So you've got to love guys like that. He's not your most technical best fighter you ever see, but the guy's just a born fighter. But I'm edging Fili. I think it's going to be close, but edging Andre just a little bit.
I am like you, Will. It's a flip of the coin. Artem Lobov's not faced any really high-level opponents, bar Cub Swanson. You know, the guys he's had, you know, the Chris Alvey and Ishihara, the wins they're not great games. Andre Fili is a guy who's got the potential, but just doesn't rock up on fight nights sometimes. But if Fili can just bring it all together, he's an absolute talent to watch. And I do think he's got more in his arsenal to win than Artem has. I just want to see what style. I think the size of the cage might make a difference with the bigger, smaller cage. That always can play a factor, and I think that might be one of the things in this one. But yeah, I'd probably go Andre Fili just slightly as well. I think if he could rock up, he could definitely get that win. Next up is another change to the fight card. Sam Alvey done everyone a solid and stepped in short notice against Razaman Emeev, if you want to say it. I've got to probably favour Sam Alvey in this fight, bro. Not because obviously the knowledge and the kind of the fighter of the years. He's had a lot of UFC fights against higher level guys, but Emeev is a guy who's susceptible to getting hit and he's been rocked a few times in his fights. Like, to be fair, he's fought back to win, but he's not a guy that I look at and think Sam Alvey is going to get destroyed by him. I could see Sam catching this guy with counters all day long. He's very open to them. And I think Emeev's he's not anything special. Like, Emeev's not got like outstanding striking or he hasn't got outstanding wrestling. He's a very fundamentally sound, well-rounded fighter in all facets. Like, he's got a good solid wrestling, he's got good solid submission, and he's got good solid striking. Nothing makes me go, wow, this guy is going to blow the middleweight division. He's just a solid fighter. I just think Sam Alvey's got the fighter IQ to counter him in a smart and fight a smarter way. How do you see the fight yourself, bro?
Sam Alvey is really hard to look good against. It's like he is a spoiler fighter who I sit and watch his fights, and sometimes I'm like, just do something. But he always wins. He seems to get the nod in the fight. So I think if it gets into a little bit of a swinging match, I think Sam definitely has the advantage on the feet. I think that he is very hard to take down. Alvey's, I think, what, years with Dan Henderson. So I think, yeah. I mean, he's only lost to Talis Litis in his last 6 fights, and that's not a bad loss in your record. This guy who fought for a belt, lost to Elias and Derek Brunson, but the guy seems to fight like 5-6 times a year. Coming off it was a smelly fight against Rashad Evans, but to have a win over Rashad Evans on your resume is something nice to have. He's just really hard to look good against. I can see. I don't know. I'm finding it hard to see envision where the fight goes, because Ameev on the ground is very dangerous. He caught Mikhail Falcao with a beautiful anaconda choke. And what I do like about Ameev is that he's very aggressive. Like you said, he can be knocked out, but he's defended it. He's won a belt, defended it 3-4 times. That's something that I always like, because the guy's obviously got a lot of confidence behind him. But he's making that next jump up to a new tier, a new level of opponent. And he's probably got the worst matchup in doing that, because Sam Alvey's just really a tough fighter to look good against. So I'm going to edge Sam Alvey 29-28, but I think it's going to be a really bad fight. I've got a feeling it's going to be a stinker.
Yeah, it's Sam Alvey's. Sam Alvey's awesome if the guy is aggressive enough coming at Sam. That's what makes Sam look so good. And it does, because Sam's very patient. He will happily just plod along through the fight. The next fight up, I like the matchup because I like the guy who's fighting. Damian Stasiak. I like Damian Stasiak for his submission game. That dude has got some wicked submissions. Like, I love watching the guy on the ground. On the feet, he's not too bad, but I think on the ground, he's so fun to watch. Against Brian Keller, again, this is a fight where I think Damian Stasiak, we're starting to see his level within that kind of UFC rankings there. If he can get it to the ground, he's an absolute nightmare on the ground. He's got so many little kind of tricks up his sleeve. But I think Brian Keller's just a far superior fighter in this matchup. I think I do see Keller really, especially on the feet, just having a bit more of an advantage over it.
See, I'm the other way. I think Stasiak could win this one. He actually really impressed me last year when we were at UFC 204 in Manchester. I think if that fight went to a decision, Davy Grant probably beats him. But he pulled out a beautiful submission in the third round.
Was it an armbar?
Yeah,
was it an armbar?
I think it was an armbar it was. So, it was a really, really beautiful submission, like 4 minutes into the third round, and got the win there. And then he faced Pedro Munoz in his next fight. And Munoz is I think he's like top 15 fighter. So, and he gave him problems now as well. He hit him with some beautiful strikes, and he made it awkward. He did lose across all 3 cards, but I've got a funny feeling. It depends. Well, Brian Kelleher, he showed up against Yuri Alcantara, who, if he shows up, he's really hard to fight against. But he starched him in like a minute, and then he gets starched by Chito Vera next time out via submission. So it's like, what guy's going to turn up? If he turns up like he did against Alcantara, then he could definitely beat Stasiak. I just think Stasiak's going to win. I think it's going to be dirty. I think it's going to be ugly. But I think he's going to come out with a very close 29-28 split decision victory in that one. It's a fight I'm kind of intrigued a little bit, because Kelleher, when he's beat guys that I really like outside the UFC. He beat, who did he beat? Julio Arce, who is a guy that I love watching. The guy, I think he fought, he won 2 belts in the Ring of Combat. So he's a guy that I've had my eye on for a little bit. But he likes it, but only very slightly.
Yeah, it's a fun. I like that matchup. Out of all the matchups, it's one of the more interesting ones. A matchup again that got changed because of an injury. Right. Okay, not much to say about this one. Anthony Hamilton coming out of retirement after getting starched all the time. It's thought he'd have one more fight, probably just to get some money. But to be honest, it's a chance where he could win. He could actually go in and win this fight, and probably, I reckon, he'll go in and get the win via a decision, probably grappling or something, and get retirement. He'll retire from there just to go out on a win. He's fighting Adam Voracek. Voracek. That'll do. Well, we spoke about this off air, but Adam, he's a big guy, 6'5", 250. He's surprisingly got quick hands. He has got quick hands for a 6'5" guy, 250. But the problem I've got, and you've noticed it as well, is he's very upright. He's very long. He's very tall. He's like not realizing he needs to just come down a little bit to wait to base himself down, have a better center of gravity for those takedown attempts, and especially against someone like Anthony Hamilton, who, if Anthony Hamilton can get you with the grappling, he'll win. He'll definitely get the takedown because he is a good wrestler. But Adam just has to land has to get, like, I think he has to start fast at him, not slow. I think he has to come out there and throw a couple of shots to really put Anthony Hamilton on the back foot and stop him from wanting to come in for the takedowns. And he could stop Anthony, because Anthony just, that chin's gone. That chin is gone.
It's pretty crazy that this guy's got himself another fight after retiring last month or whenever it was. I can't stop laughing about this matchup, because Anthony Hamilton literally cannot take a shot. That Daniel Spitz fight, I do think it was a little bit of a weird stoppage, but he barely got hit with anything to be dropped. So the game plan is there for him to be taken out. But I was watching fights earlier on in this Viseric, and he did not impress me. It was terrible to sit there and watch this guy fight. He kept getting taken down. Now, the one thing, Anthony Hamilton, he's a pretty strong guy. He's open to trips. If you go back and watch, I think it was Philip Toe, I think his name was. Huge guy. Tripped him 2 or 3 times over. And I don't think he's that great a fighter. But Anthony Hamilton, literally a blast of wind knocked this guy down. So honestly, I don't know where to go with this fight. I'm not going to pick Anthony Hamilton because literally he cannot take a shot, and he's in the division where all it takes is the tiniest little shot and you're done. So I'm going to go by Viseric, but jeez, what a horrible fight.
It is. It's a fight that I don't think anyone is looking. That's the fight, folks. To make a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Make a cup of tea and a sandwich if you're going to do something. Just put the kettle on. The fight that I am kind of looking forward to it. Marcin Held, I think a lot is on his shoulders here to finally perform, but he's fighting a young blood kid who's doing really well on his own level. He's making his debut, short notice again, another replacement, but the kid's got, finish after finish. Nazrat Hakparast, that'll do. Afghanistan-born, Afghanistan fighter. He's obviously had hard times himself growing up out in the fields, but he's fighting Marcin Held, who I got to admit, he's just been an absolute flop in the UFC. I'm absolutely. I feel let down. I've always had so much hype for Marcin Held, and where's he been? Where has he been, mate?
Yeah. It's. The thing is with Marcin Held, I think he's found his level in the UFC, and he's been beat by these guys. But to be fair, he's been a little bit unlucky, because I thought he did win the Joe Lozon fight, and he was clearly on the way to winning the Damir Hadzovic fight before getting hit with he tried to go for was it an Imanari roll and get hit with a knee. So, I do like watching Marcin Held from a grappling and control aspect, because he has got some beautiful technique. But his fight IQ, there was no need for him to do that in that fight with Hadzovic, drop down, where that Hadzovic had to come out big and throw a shot. I was very happy because I bet Hadzovic, and it was a guy that I really liked from DraftKings and so on and so on. But I don't know, I find it hard I want to pick him here, but Hakparast, from what I've seen, he's not really faced anybody of any significance whatsoever. Pretty bad, but a lot of fighters with 0-0 records as well, which is not good. But I think that Marcin Held's going to get his first UFC win. I said, actually, after that, when I heard that he was going to be fighting again, I was like, I am never picking Marcin Held in another UFC fight. And Timu Pakalin, who he was against, I think Timu was going to beat him. I think Timu was going to knock him out. But I'm going to go in this one. I think he can find a submission and finally win a fight in the UFC. But who knows? It's kind of a long shot, I think, because you don't know which. That fight with Hadzovic really kind of sits in my head. He had that fight won, did not have to do really anything but kind of survive, and just got sparked. So I'm going to pick him, but I'm not confident in the slightest.
Yeah, and he is I think the reason Nazrat got signed up is because he's managed by the very dodgy and very corrupt Ali.
Right.
Yeah, so for Dominance, is it? No, it's not. Is it Dominance MMA? Is it Dominance MMA? The management company that Ali has. If you don't know much about Ali, he's very very fortunate not to be in jail at the moment. He's basically was a snitch, an informant, There's a lot of story into him. I had a great guest in Mike Russell come on to explain a lot more of the stuff that's going on with him. But thankfully, hopefully stuff is going to come out and he will be eventually prosecuted for his behavior. Let's put it that way. So that's an awesome little thing outside of MMA. I think people don't really pay attention. A lot of fighters don't pay attention to it because they don't care. They just care about the money. There's always a lovely guy. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm sure people thought Osama bin Laden was a nice guy, but he still fucked up people. Still fucked people over. Anyway, main card, bro. This fight, I'm actually going to go with the debutant here. You got Oscar Pichota, who, to be fair, he came to Cage Warriors, won a middleweight title in emphatic style against Radcliffe. Absolutely starched him. Beautiful counter and absolutely flatlined him. Jonathan Wilson stepping into 185. He has fought heavier, but I think Jonathan Wilson, for me, he's too much of a wild striker, and I think this plays into Oscar's style. I think Oscar can do the similar thing he did with Paul, with Radcliffe, where he can just take a step back, a couple of steps back, and just find that opportunity and snap that counter in. I just don't see much. Jonathan Wilson, I'm not too hyped up about myself, but I think Oscar is the kind of perfect debut fight for him at middleweight.
Yeah, interesting to see what Jonathan drops down to 185, see what he's like. But I think that I'm going to pick Piota all the time. I think that on the ground he has an advantage, a big advantage. On the feet, I think he needs to be careful because Wilson does pack a punch. And it's interesting to just see the frame of Jonathan Wilson because he seemed like quite a big guy at 205. So I'm going to pick the guy. I think he could go farther than what Jonathan Wilson's come into the UFC and he showed what he's all about, and he's not that great. He's lost to guys. He beat Chris Dempsey. Chris Dempsey is a terrible fighter. Enrique de Silva, Frankenstein. To be fair to him, he puts on some fun fights, but I don't think he's great. Kutalaba is a guy I really like. I really rate him. But I think Pichota, on the ground, he has a huge advantage, and I expect him to get it down there. And I've watched some of his jiu-jitsu matches as well, actually. Really, really good down there. So submission victory for Pichota.
Nice. And next up is a guy who is just... I just wish he could show what he's shown outside the UFC all the time. Jan Blachowicz is fighting Devin Clark, and I've got to admit, Jan Blachowicz just I want more from Jan, but I've not seen it yet. And there's more in him. He's shown it outside of the UFC. Maybe because when he got to the UFC, that level, that kind of step up really showed in the light heavyweight division, and that's probably what stumped him maybe. But I think Devin Clark is a good fit for Jan Blachowicz to really kind of get himself motoring back on again. But Devin Clark again is a powerful guy. He's not a soft lad. He can definitely pack a punch. I think this is probably going to be a bit of a barn burner, if I'm honest with you, Will. I don't see it going 3 rounds. Picking the winner, I would possibly go with Jan Blachowicz because I think he can take a hit a lot more. Definitely take a punch a lot better than a lot of guys you've seen.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 in this fight because I think that Jan really, in his last 5 UFC fights, he should really be 0-5 because he beat Igor Pekraeus, and I think he actually lost that fight. So, and he is losing to, if we're looking at 205 as a division, he's losing to good ranked fighters. Well, they're not great fighters.
No.
Manawa, I think, can beat good guys. Gustafsson, he looked all right against Gustafsson. Gustafsson did not want to stand with Blachowicz, so he went to the takedown and dominated the fight from there. But he gasses really badly. I think that Devin Clark, he comes from a really solid gym at Jackson Wink, and he's got a couple of wins in the UFC as well. So he's built his confidence a little bit. This is definitely, I think, his biggest opponent today in his home country as well. So, but I think if he survives the first round, I think he can wear Jan Blachowicz out and get a win there. But not confident. But my pick's going to be Devin Clark. Yeah,
I think for Jan, if he doesn't get the win, like you say, UFC probably could. I think KSW will snap him up in a heartbeat, because he will, in Poland, he'll be huge star for them on KSW cards. Co-main event, bro. Man, I already knew about Jodie Escobar, all right? I already knew about it. I've seen her footage on Invicta. I watched this girl fight. She's got skills, but fighting Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I feel like that's an unfair matchup. I'm like, I'm a bit stuck on why they made this match. For me, Jodie, one thing that Jodie has, certainly, she doesn't have a lot of head movement. She is susceptible to those great, like, straight shots, like 1-2s, and Carolina's really good at that. Like, Jodie does a lot of stuff with her hands, but she doesn't move her head when she's striking. Her head's very static. But on a skill level, like, Carolina's just, like, she lost 2 in a row recently, but it wasn't to 2 bums. It was to the champ and the number 2, Claudia Gadelha. Like, you know, you've lost to 2 absolute beasts, and she wasn't getting sparked out either. Do you know what I mean? I just don't see anywhere Jodie can win this fight. I'm a bit stuck on this, bro. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's an Invicta main event, pretty much, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
it should never ever be a. Now I know Karolina's probably a big star in Poland, but it should never be a co-main event on a UFC card. Never. I was really surprised when Esquivel got the call to the UFC. I mean, I've watched her probably for the last 3-4 years in Invicta, and she's solid. I mean, she's got boxing. She's used to be a professional boxer, I think, as well. She kind of traded wins and losses there, but nothing really. I don't think she's got. Honestly, I don't think she's got anything for Karolina. I think Karolina is the crisper, faster striker who's just going to put combinations together. I think in the clinch she's going to muck her up with the knees, and I think coming off those 2 losses, she wants to put herself back in the shot window for a title shot potentially in the next year. So she needs to win this one. She needs to win it convincingly. She's in Poland. Everything goes on the side of Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Can she get a finish? No, I don't think she can. I think it's going to be like a 30-26 though. I think she's just got to outclass Esquivel from the get-go.
Now, I'm with you on that one. I think it's too one-sided. But the main event, there's a lot of people, Will, kind of semi-writing Donald Cerrone off. Now, I don't know if it's because they're supporting Darren because they're British-based. I'm not sure. Darren Till fighting Donald Cerrone main event. They needed Donald Cerrone for this main event. Let's be brutally honest. This card, if it didn't have Donald Cerrone, it would be less looked at than you could even think about. But Donald Cerrone kind of helps bring the kind of US kind of market to the card to pay a bit of interest. But Darren Till has got one hell of a step up against Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone's fought the who's who in the UFC. And he's I got a lot of faith in Darren Till in the welterweight division in the UFC. I think he's got a lot of potential there. He's exciting. He likes to be a bit violent. I've thought that he's maybe lacked that killer instinct to finish some fights that he has. Like, he's got the killer instinct in him. Sometimes it feels like he's just pulling and holding back. Now, is that because he's just maybe waiting to release that, and he will against Cerrone, or are we going to see a Cerrone just full of confidence coming over, having a couple of Budweisers and just going to town on Darren Till? Man, this is a hell of a scrap.
It's a good fight. But I do think it's a kind of weird fight as well, because Cerrone is a guy that's been around the UFC for the longest time he's been around, and he probably fights as much as anybody does. And he's faced the best of the best of the best of the best. I mean, he just fought Robbie Lawler back in the summer, like 2 months ago. So you're going from a guy who's fought Dos Anjos and Lawler and Pettis. Now you're fighting a guy who has literally not really fought anybody in the UFC. He fought Nicholas Dalby, who's a tough guy. He's fought Bojan Velickovic, which is a nice winning Tavernier record. Yesin Ayari, I don't really rate him that highly. You're making a step up 2 or 3 levels. I mean, Donald Cerrone really doesn't lose to anybody outside the top 5 of their divisions. It's plain and simple. Pettis was a former champion. Masvidal is he's a top guy in that welterweight division. Lawler's a former champion. Dos Anjos is a former champion. The guy really, and when you get young fighters that come up and try to challenge him, he puts them back where they belong. Miles Jury tried to do it, and he totally beat the piss out of Miles Jury.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
He put a beating on him. Now, Darren Till is supremely confident in himself. He believes he's going to go in there. And he has got weapons, I think, that can hurt Cerrone. He definitely has. But Cerrone has seen it all. He literally has. He's seen every type of fighter. He's fought better strikers than what Darren Till is. And of course, he has lost them. I think Pettis is a better striker when he wants to have the output to do so. But he's just seen everything that he needs to see. I just don't think this. I'm desperate for Darren Till to win the fight. I think that if Darren Till was to go and beat Cerrone, that's huge for Europe. It's huge for England. It's huge for Liverpool. The guys deserve a card over there in Liverpool. They have done for 5-6 years at least, and they've never ever went there. I don't know why. They've got all the structure. I mean, Cage Warriors put on the biggest event in Liverpool, pretty much. So, and they do it twice a year as well. So, how the UFC cannot go there? They're going to have fighters. If Darren Till wins this, they're going to Liverpool next year. I have no doubt about it in the slightest. I just don't see where Darren Till beats Donald Cerrone. I will be literally, I'll be shocked. I know, and like I said, I know that Darren Till has qualities to beat Cerrone. It's all on whether it's Cerrone taking him serious or not. Because if he's not, Darren Till's going to shock him because he's got a huge left body kick that he's going to plant in there, and we all know that Cerrone is very weak to the body. I just think that Cerrone's just at levels above. Now this could come back to literally bite me in the arse, and that's fine because I want Darren to win because as a European kind of MMA fan, UK MMA fan, we need these guys to beat those big stars, get more eyes on you, and put you into bigger fights going forward in the future. So I think Cerrone just wears them out in the mid rounds and stops them. But like I say, I want Darren to really show the world his talent because I think he's shown it in bits, but not for an extended amount of time. So good luck, Darren. I really hope you pull it off. But I'm picking the Cowboy in this one.
Yeah, I think the logic, you kind of get your heart and your mind, and because I would love Liverpool Echo. It would be so good and cheap as fuck for me to get over there as well. So nothing to do with that, by the way. A little bit. So we're going to go to your questions, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a couple of questions to ping out here. In relation to the Cage Warriors main event where Roberto Soldic beat Lou Long, the head kick finish. After the head kick finish, the referee kind of covered Lou Long to kind of pick him up to make sure he was okay, etc. And Roberto leaned over the referee. Like it wasn't like the referee got in his way. He purposely went and made the effort to walk up to Lou Long, go around the referee to hit Lou Long in the head after. So one of the questions we have is, this is what this relates to. A guy called Day Oz Stevo, or that's his Twitter handle, his name's Steven on there. He said, should there be consequences for shots thrown after the ref has intervened? It's a weird one because that one, there should be some form of consequence because it wasn't like the referee jumped in and he was swinging punches and it was just the momentum of the punches that caught him. He head kicked him, was away from him. It's not like they were separated. The referee was there attending to Lou Long, and he purposefully made the effort to consciously walk over to come round the ref to hit Lou Long. That's very different. Very different than the referee kind of jumping in to stop something. What consequences? I'm not sure, because a disqualification, because like that was such a definitive loss. It's a hard one. I don't know what punishment. Do you deduct the pay? Like, is that like, say, right, okay, like weight cut, you miss weight 20% or whatever it is. I know Cage Warriors is higher than that because they had problems in the past. So they brought a brilliant idea. Said, right, you fuck up your weight, we're going to take 60% of your purse. Love it. Love it. Tell you what, don't see many people missing weight now. It's weird that. So you dock some of their purse. Would that be an idea that you could think of? Like, you class it as unsportsmanlike behaviour. But what would you do, Will? How would you look at that?
Yeah, it's hard to when you say taking, like he's won the fight, but he's kind of. I didn't like it when I seen it. When I first seen it, I was like, it's all right. Then the more I seen it, I was like, I didn't really like that for the simple fact that the referee was in position. He literally had both hands on Lou Long, making sure he was okay, and then Soldic come round the top and levelled him with a shot. You don't do that as a fighter. He knew. He kicked him in the face. He knew. Well, saying that, when you see Soldic, he head kicked him, but then he spun round.
Yeah.
So his instinct is going for the kill. But before he got there, the referee had two hands, and when Soldic was literally there, he lifted his hand to stop him throwing the punch. So it's a hard thing to talk about. I didn't like seeing it. But it's a hard thing. Do you take money off them for it because it's not like they're making lots and lots of money. So it's a hard thing to do. Just try and use your it's just fighter's instinct, isn't it? Really, it's just you want to make sure that he's out, but then you've got to have that kind of compassionate side. Say like Nate Marquardt against Damon Maia, he knew he leveled him, and he was out, and he was about to throw a punch and then pulled back. You've just got to have that kind of compassion. Every fighter's different, so it's hard to really say. I'd rather not.
I want to say compassion, but the referee is blatantly there.
He's there, yeah.
And he made the effort to go round, to reach round. That is a bit. It's a bit of a different level. I think, and that's why I mean it's. I would say pay, mate, because there's nothing else you could do. You can't reversing the decision is a bit bullshit. Because I'm like, look, if you start someone like it's like Daniel Cormier getting the light heavyweight title. He's only taken it for financial reasons, but he doesn't feel like the champ because he got fucking starched by John Jones. Yeah, it's a really, really, really tough one. It's a hard one and weird one to decide, but yeah, man, I don't know how you decide it. So another question. We will end with. We'll do that one last because that's a fun one. We'll go for the more serious question. Okay, so Adam Sean, who's messaged us plenty of times on our Facebook page. You can go and like the Facebook page if you want as well. Bisping's performance was pretty good at the press conference. This is the Bisping GSP press conference. Dana White up in Montreal. Going from the footage taken post conference, do you believe? Oh, this was the spouts that they had after the press conference. You know, battle to each other. Do you believe that Bisping is in GSP's head? And if so, will it make a difference? Now, I can see where he's coming from because in the past, you've had Nick Diaz fight GSP. You've had Matt Serra. You've had who was the other? Oh, Josh Koscheck trying to get under his skin. Remember in the tough series, Will, where he parked the car right next to GSP's car, so GSP had to go around through the window or something to get in. But like, he's had guys in the past do this to him. You know, say stuff to get under his skin. You know, call him whatever. It's just a fight game. But you never saw GSP react. He would just come back with the standard, I believe that when we get in the ring, I'm going to be champion and win the fight, and we will see what happens then. And that was it. That's kind of like you just get that standard GSP response. But for some reason, with a little bit of a break, the GSP's had, and I say a little bit of break, fucking ages, but he's getting, it's almost like Bisping's got under his skin somehow. Like somehow, because if it's in an English accent, it's more offensive. I don't know. What have you, like, or is it maybe, do you think that GSP, with his time away, has seen the way that people, the public view fights, like why people buy pay-per-views, and he goes, well, actually, they like a bit of confrontation. If I just do a little bit, maybe that might get more pay-per-view buys. I'm on. That's what he's getting. GSP he'll be on pay-per-view buy numbers. So do you think maybe it's something to do with that? Maybe GSP's thinking, well, Bisping is a fire. He's gonna be, you know, literally firing like these hot balls at me. I've got to maybe come back with something and help sell tickets. Maybe do you think it's something he's just being smart and incorporating into the? What do you think this is? Because GSP's not stupid.
Yeah, I just think Bisping he's a smarmy prick. He's a guy. It really does. It's the way his voice is as well. His voice is like really annoying, and he's so condescending and in your face. I think he's done a great job with this. I really do. So I'm not the biggest Bisping believer or fan. I never have been. Probably never will be. But I think he's did everything perfect in this fight. Like to sell the fight, to get it out there, and to piss GSP off. He's got in GSP's head because GSP, when the cameras are on, he's like, oh, we'll see we're in the cage. There was a TMZ video in the back where GSP is saying, fuck off, fuck this, fuck you, da 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 da. So he's clearly, Bisping has got in his head. Whether that's going to make much difference, I don't know. I don't think it will. But Bisping, he's a guy that I think it's easy to get pissed off with that guy when you want to, because he is a bit of a smarmy prick. But I think he's did everything perfect for this fight. I really do. But going back to the question, I think he's got in his head. I really do think he has got in his head. GSP's got nothing for him when they're speaking, when they're talking. So it's just all one way, really. So, yeah, the answer to the question, he has, I think, got in his head. But whether it makes a difference, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's one of them. I think maybe, I don't know if it's because Bisping offended Canada, maybe.
Maybe.
Because I don't think, if I recall, I can't think of anyone doing it in the past. Because Bisping would just say, fuck you all, knock all you Canadian bastards out. So maybe it's more, GSP feels it like you're defending his country rather than defending himself, because he feels, I can defend myself in the cage with my actions, but if you attack my country, my home, then I will stand up for that. It could be something to do with that. Who knows? But like you say, Bisping, people don't understand that's Bisping's art form. He has been doing it for so long. He's so good at it, and that's what he does. Like, he's not being mallet. He doesn't actually give a fuck about him, GSP. He's just doing it because he wants to sell tickets so he can get more money, so he can go off into the sunset. That's what Bisping does. So last question, bro, is, again, another one from Adam. Okay, so Adam's Twitter handle, by the way, is AdamSean929 Twitter. So here we go. You've fondled a biker's wife. Sounds like you, Willis. Totally up your street. Sounds more like our friend Bailey. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, more like a 50-year-old, biker's wife. So you fondled a biker's wife in a bar, and it's about to kick off. Which 3 UFC fighters, past or present, do you want backing you up? I've already picked my 3. I'm already in. I've already done mine. But who are you picking, Will?
Right. Right. If we're going 3, I think Brock Lesnar's one of them, because he's a machine. Your biker guys are usually big burly guys, so he's just going to suplex them left, right, and centre. Let's see. I think I'm going to pick Phil Baroni, because I think he's a crazy, crazy motherfucker. I think he'd just go in there, that big New York slang, start slinging words around, then just start knocking fools out. I was thinking either Phil Baroni or Crazy Horse. I was thinking one of them two. And then as a third one, I would maybe go, let's see, maybe someone like Demetrius Johnson, who is very, very small, takes out the legs, fucking suplexes them, then puts them in arm bars, and then runs off with our bikes or whatever.
Or punches him in the dick.
I'll punch him in the dick. Good
height. Good height. Just there on the sack. Just there, just take it out. I initially said Tank Abbott in my head. I thought Tank because you'll be guaranteed you'll be at the fucking bar anyway.
Or Don Fry. Don Fry was another one I was thinking of.
Exactly, he'd be a great one. But do you know what? Who I picked? I go for the Scat Pack. I go for Nate and Nick Diaz and Jake Shields, because Jake Shields, he's going to pick up a glass and throw it, so you know he's game. And you know the Diaz brothers don't give a fuck, and they're always up for a scrap. So they're just. I was in there. I was thinking it'd be like Jake Shields would be your artillery, just lobbing glasses over from distance like an archery, and then you'll have Diaz brothers in the middle. Oh, it'd be great. Like, I've already seen it. I've already visioned it. And then you'd have Gilbert and Melendez propping up as well, just rocking up at any time. It's already scored. Already done, mate. That'd be my part. That'd be a good one.
There's lots actually. If I was to sit back and think about it, I think you could really put a good, solid team together. I started thinking about Tank Abbott. I started thinking about Don Fry. And I was thinking just guys that are just ready to get down and fight any time. So
remember Dwayne Ludwig said that about TJ Dillashaw. He said, dude, if I ever want anyone in the fucking bar fight, it's him. Just fucking bananas. He's a loose cannon. You're like, and I was sitting there going, TJ, that'd be fun, because he just looks like a nice, cute kid. You know what I mean? I know TJ's like 30 years old, but he still looks 21. You know, he just like said, hi, sir, I'm lost. Just goes fucking berserker. But yeah, that would be a fun one. But hey, bro.
Yeah.
That's the podcast this week. I don't know if there's anything you want to mention.
No, just
I want to talk about.
Let's see. Let's just. Did we mention Alex Emland? We did, didn't we?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's fine. No, just to the boys that are going out to Poland, enjoy yourselves, have a good time, and to all the new people, hopefully out there, subscribe, come and like our pages, go on YouTube, like our channel over there. And just keep supporting you. You guys are doing great. I need to try and step up and try and I'm just working so much that I'm completely forgetting to even retweet the podcast, which is fucking.
I know. I tag you in it. Yeah. I tag you in it, and I sit there, and there's no retweet.
Yeah, I'm fucking terrible for that. So I need to really start doing my shit. So just keep you guys out there are supporting more than I am. So just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully I'll do what I'm doing. So thanks for listening, and just keep up the support.
Yeah, we've had a lot of YouTube subscribers. Sorry, is the word I want to use. Recently, same on SoundCloud and iTunes. I'm not too familiar on iTunes, people, on how like the subscribing shit works. I don't know, but it seems to be working well. I'm glad everyone's using the iTunes facility. The people have iPhones, because a lot of you do. So it's so far, I think it's working out well. And again, we're going to keep going, keep pushing stuff, keep pushing content, and trying to build stuff a bit more. And we look forward to speaking to you all next week after a bonanza in Poland.